Hi, my name's Fiona. I'm an illustrator. Thank you for clicking on my video. So it's art challenge season. People are doing their Inktobers and their Drawtobers and their Peachtobers. There are art challenges that run at all different times of year, but something about October just seems to be the big month for them. So let's talk about it. By the way, there's not going to be much going on for the visuals of this video. It's just going to be me sitting here chatting. So feel free to treat this as a podcast and have something going on in the background. So like the structure of this video. So first of all, I'm going to talk about my experience of art challenges, my personal experience, and then I'm going to go into more the pros and cons, and then just generally whether or not I think they're a good idea for you and for what you need. This is all just totally my opinion, so please do take it with a pinch of salt and take your own experiences and make up your own mind. So for me personally, my first encounter with art challenges was Inktober, and I think that's the same for a lot of people. I think I did Inktober first in 2014, I want to say. In my life timeline, that was right after I'd left school and I was feeling a little bit lost and generally just sort of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And it was around then that I was deciding that I wanted to try and take art seriously and work up to earning money from it someday. So yeah, I started my first art Instagram account that year as well, and came across Inktober and just sort of decided to jump in headfirst with it without thinking too hard about it. I was just generally thinking, you know, I'm brand new to drawing and I feel like I need to do this as like a drawing boot camp kind of thing to catch up and improve with where other artists my age were. I think I did complete every day of Inktober that year, but if I remember, a lot of it was super low effort and not really good. So it didn't really feel like a massive overwhelming challenge at the time. And also my social media accounts back then were very like meh. I had like 49 followers or something. I didn't post any day and I didn't feel any pressure to, which added to it not feeling like too much of a challenge. So my overall experience was good. I got a good month of practice of drawing and I didn't burn out or anything. And it made me feel more engaged in the online art community as well. So that was a good year. And then after that, I did Inktober every year for I think 5 straight years. And I had a variety of level of success with it. Some years went great and I did every day and I improved a lot. And other years it was just a massive ordeal and I didn't complete it. It all had to do with whatever else I had going on in my life at the time. The years I did it when I was at university, a lot of the time that kind of sucked because I had so many other assignments on and it was just too much. And then I think it was 2019, that was the year when my dog was a tiny puppy and I still insisted on doing Inktober for some reason. And that was really hard because the dog just needed constant supervision and he was waking me up all through the night and everything, and I was really sleep deprived and just not in a good place to do an art challenge at all. I don't even know why I did it. I think it was just out of pure stubbornness because I'd been doing it every year and I didn't want to break that streak. But that year I didn't complete it at all. It was last year I did it. It was terrible and stressful. And it was a start of a massive art burnout for me. It really damaged my relationship with my drawing for a good few months. And it took a long time to get back to enjoying it again. I also haven't just done Inktober. I've also done Hourly Comics Day. I've done Mermay. I've done Drawgust as well. So Mermay is when you draw a mermaid every day of May, and Drawgust is it's more open, it's just draw something every day of August. So when I did that one, I did it as a sketchbook challenge. I drew one full sketchbook spread every day of August, and it could be whatever I wanted and whatever media I wanted. That one was less damaging for me because it was more casual. I didn't feel like I had to produce a finished illustration every day. Some of the days were just like life drawing, pencil sketches. Stuff like that. And I had also decided in advance that I was going to end it early because I was in the middle of moving house at the time and I didn't want to, you know, punish myself by doing a drawing challenge while moving house. So long story short, I've done my fair share of art challenges. I've been in the trenches. I've experienced the good and the bad and the burnout. But I personally am not going to be doing an art challenge this October or any in the foreseeable future. For one thing, I'm going to be abroad for part of October and it's just going to be too difficult. And just in general, I'm trying to think longer term with my art and work on bigger, longer term projects. And also just now that I've been drawing for a long time, I don't really feel that desperate drive to try and improve really quickly anymore, if that makes sense. I think it can't be understated enough just how much 31 drawings is. I mean, it's just 1 month, it doesn't sound that bad, but when you're in the middle of it, it is relentless. It feels like a marathon. If you think about it, like If you spend 2 hours on each drawing, that's 61 hours, which is equivalent to like a week and a half of a full-time job spread across the month on top of the full-time work or school you probably already have, which sounds crazy, doesn't it? Like, it feels like you're constantly struggling to keep your head above the water. And when you're sitting on like the 15th of October, that's 15 drawings under your belt, which is a lot. But at that point, it feels crazy to think you're less than halfway through and you still have 16 to go. It really is a marathon. It can't be understated enough that it is a big undertaking. And I think whether or not you get a net benefit overall from your art challenge will depend on what you're hoping to get out of it and the attitude you have towards it. Like, if you're expecting to produce 31 beautiful artworks in 31 days, you're probably going to have a bad time if you have literally anything else at all going on in your life. Like, yes, maybe you make a lot of improvement in your drawing skills over the course of a month like this, but it can also be in kind of a one step forward, 2 steps backward kind of way, where in exchange for any improvement you make, you end up creatively exhausted and unable to make anything at all for weeks or months afterward, which is the opposite of what we want. So I think if you at this current time have a positive relationship with your own art where you enjoy it and it brings you relaxation and fulfillment, I would take a second to remember that that relationship is a really valuable, fragile, breakable thing, and it's something that you have to protect and nurture. And if you damage it with all this pressure, it might take you a long time to come back to that positive relationship again. I'm speaking from my own experience here. For me, I eventually rebuilt it, but some people just lose that light, fun relationship they have with their art, and they do keep drawing, but they never really fully get it back in the same way. Just something to think about. That being said, I'm definitely not telling you directly not to do it. Plenty of people get a lot of value out of drawing challenges. They do build a sense of community, like in a way that, you know, yes, it's hard, but we're all in it together and we're getting through it together type of thing. It can help you get your work discovered on social media, and I found some really great artists to follow that way. And it also really does improve your artwork. Like, the main purpose of it genuinely does work, especially if you're early on in your drawing journey and you really need to be getting that EXP in and leveling up. It also gets you in the habit of having a daily sketchbook practice, if you don't do that already, which is a really great habit to be in. So if you are going to do an art challenge, there are some things that you might like to keep in mind to keep your sanity in check and to protect that positive relationship that you have with your drawing. So I think a really great way to limit burnout and keep it under control is to set yourself a daily time limit. This is going to help keep the perfectionism at bay, which is the killer. So set a timer and make sure your drawings take no more than 1 hour or whatever it is that makes sense for your life. And then when that hour's over, it's over, you're done. This also has the additional benefit of encouraging you to draw faster with less second guessing, which is a really useful skill as well. Another thing I've done during a past art challenge, which sounds kind of cheesy, but bear with me, was I wrote in big letters on the first page of the sketchbook: art does not have to be good to be allowed to exist. Meaning, I don't owe anyone anything with these. It's okay to make bad art. Bad art isn't something wrong or a failure. It serves a purpose, it helps us grow. It helps us identify our own tastes and see where we want to improve. It's valuable. And crucially, if you look at the rule set of any of these different challenges like Inktober and Peachtober, I promise you that nowhere in the rules of any of them does it say that the art you produce has to be good. It does not say that anywhere. So if you do if you do 31 terrible scribbles, you have technically completed Inktober perfectly, and you probably learned a lot as well, which is the real spirit of the challenge, I think. I would also say try not to get too attached to any one individual drawing. I would say try not to see each drawing as an individual art piece. Try to see them as steps or building blocks towards the skill level you want or whatever goal you have in mind. In a previous video I made about productivity, I talked about the 100 pots story, which I mention all the time, but I do see as relevant here as well. If you haven't heard of it, it's from the book Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, and it goes something like this. So imagine a pottery class where the teacher divides up the class into 2 groups. Group 1 has to work all semester to make the one single most perfect pot they can, and Group 2, their goal is just to make as many pots as possible, and they do not have to be any good at all. They just have to be, they're going to be graded on the sheer number. And at the end of the semester, Group 2 has made 100 pots, and Group 1 has made just the one that they've tweaked and fussed over for weeks. But the best looking pot is one of group 2's 100. It's not the one single perfect one. So the message of that story is prioritizing quantity and speed and not being precious is what is going to lead to better art in the long run. And that's what an art challenge is. It's you making your 100 pots or 31, most of which are going to be rubbish, but that's okay because you're learning. And you know, who knows, maybe 1 or 2 of them will turn out to be brilliant. But the point is, you just want to have the mindset that you are just churning out these drawings. You're not being precious about any of them. You're getting them done, not perfect. And that is how you're going to stay sane and get the most out of it, I think. Also, you really don't have to post them all to social media. I know these challenges do feel very social media centric, but the whole point is to improve your drawing skills, and posting to Instagram doesn't necessarily aid that in any way. You know, yes, it can help in terms of accountability, but it can also really ruin the experience as well. For me, feeling like I had to declare on Instagram that I was doing an art challenge and then had to post every day was one of the things that really ruined it for me. Because it meant that I struggled to accept that some days the drawings would just be bad. But if they're just for you, then you know, you can even throw out the drawings the second you've completed them. You've still done them. But yeah, the point of what I'm saying is all just about lessening the pressure. The less stress you put on yourself, the more art improvement you're going to get out of the challenge. Our brains can't learn when they're actively panicking, you know? But on the other hand, it might be that maybe the main reason you're doing an art challenge isn't that you want to improve your art skills. Maybe the main reason is that you want to grow your social media following. Maybe you want to please the algorithm by posting every day for a month to see what it does to your follower count, kind of thing, which I don't blame you. That's a completely valid reason and it can work extremely well. In my own experience, one of the years I did Inktober on Instagram, I gained like 4,000 followers in a month or something, which at the time doubled my follower number. It drove a load of traffic to my Etsy shop. I had some like art supply brands wanting to sponsor me and stuff. Like, it's valid to want that, that's okay. So if that's what you want out of an art challenge, you're gonna naturally feel like your daily drawings do need to be good and have some effort to them. If that's the case for you, I'm going to recommend that you cheat a little bit. The prompt lists come out in advance, get a bunch of them done beforehand with time on your side to make sure you're happy with them. I am 99% sure that this is what virtually all of the big artist accounts do. No one's gonna know. If your goal is to post every single day, but the act of drawing every single day is less important to you, like, just why not, you know? You're still getting the 31 drawings done, you're still getting the hours of practice in. You don't need to do all 31 in advance as well. You could just do 5 or 6 in advance as buffer drawings. So you can set out with the intention of drawing every day, but you still have something held back to post on those inevitable days when you're just really busy or sick or whatever it is and the art is just not happening. What some people like to do for Inktober specifically is, well, they say it's Inktober, right? It's an inking challenge. So they'll pencil sketch out all of the compositions and ideas in advance. And then all they do on the individual days of October is they ink the drawings. This can apply to Peachtober and that sort of thing as well. There's nothing stopping you from pencil sketching out your plans every day in advance and then only colouring them on the day. I know we're already in October now, but if you have a free day early on in the month, you can still try and get a batch done and give yourself a little bit of leeway later on. I promise you will thank yourself. And it's something to keep in mind for November as well. I know that's a popular November one, or just any in the future really. Another good way to take part, one idea could be to do like an Inktober half marathon. So that would mean just doing half the days. So that could be drawing every alternate day, you know, just the odd or even days or some combination of that. And that's still gonna leave you with 15 or 16 completed drawings, which is a lot to achieve in a month. And you still get to participate in this fun community thing. And you still have time to live your life and be a normal human being. Or you could do, and I'm kind of just making this up, but like, to go along with the half marathon metaphor, you could do an Inktober 5K where, you know, you do 5 drawings during the month, or like a 10K where you do 10, and then you can just pick and choose which prompts you like the best. It's important to remember that there are no actual rules here. Like, all art challenges are just arbitrary things that people have made up, you know, at the end of the day. So that's no different to you making up your own rules. It's not less valid, if you get what I mean. If it has to be 31 drawings or nothing, most people are going to pick nothing. And 15 or 10 or 5 drawings is a lot better than nothing. So you can always just tweak it to what is actually going to help you, what is actually going to work for you. I know a lot of the stuff I've said in this video boils down to If you want to do an art challenge but it's too hard, break a bunch of the rules and do it anyway. But yeah, like I said, those are just rules someone made up, you know? You can also be someone who makes up some rules, and that's the exact same thing, you know? Your rules are no less valid than the rules made up by the challenge creator, whoever they may be. You're both just people. So basically, to sum it up, should you do an art challenge? The answer is it depends on your personality and your goals. If you struggle with perfectionism and you think you'd be quite rigid about the rules and the 31 daily drawings and you'd expect a lot out of the 31 daily drawings, or if you overall have a busy and stressful sort of life, I would suggest no, don't do an art challenge. You're going to get really stressed out and possibly put yourself in a complete burnout art block and hate drawing afterwards, which is the opposite of what we want to achieve. However, on the other hand, if you feel quite chill and loosey-goosey about art challenges, if you have enough time, if you feel like your drawings don't have to be perfect, you're just doing them for your own self-improvement, and you're open to bending the rules a little bit and you're not going to beat yourself up if you miss a day, I would say, yeah, why not? So just remember what your goal is for doing this and keep that at the forefront of your mind the whole time. You can even write it in the front page of your sketchbook, and don't let other potential aspects of the challenge bother you or get in the way of that. If the strict rules of the art challenge are starting to get in the way of what you want out of it, then you can just brush them aside, because that's just going to be counterproductive. So for example, if your goal is self-improvement, don't let the social media side of the challenge or impressing people distract you too much. Whereas if your goal is to participate in the online art community a bit more, be sure to focus on doing that and interacting with people more than you focus on following the exact rules of the drawing challenge to the letter. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's good to just remember what you actually want to get out of it and keep reminding yourself of that. And if you do find yourself not enjoying it, you know, after all, drawing is supposed to be fun. This is a fun thing. You can just stop whenever you want, you know. As a hardened, jaded social media artist of many years, I would not blame you at all. I'd also be really interested to hear your experience of drawing challenges, the ones you've done, whether you think they're worth it, and whether you think there are some important points I've missed out as well. I know there has been a lot of drama with Inktober and Jake Parker, the creator of Inktober, over the past few years. I didn't want to touch on that in this video because I wanted to talk about things that could pertain to all different art challenges. But if you don't know what I'm referring to, I will link some good videos about the Inktober drama below. I'll also link my productivity for artists video below. I think a lot of what I said there could help with managing a big art challenge like Inktober or Peachtober. But yeah, do you think drawing challenges are overall good or bad? Let me know, what do you think? Thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.